What's good, everybody? It's Batman, and we have a Naruto reaction video once again, and we're going to be watching a video from Kingbullet. If you guys have not heard of him, he's a pretty good guy, and he's pretty cool. He actually has a lot of good Naruto content, in my opinion. I haven't seen all his videos yet. I do plan to reacting to the videos that either appeal to me or that I do find interesting to see what he thinks. React to it, give you some laughs with if it's either me disagreeing or agreeing or not. So I do plan on watching all his videos, but yeah, he has really good videos, a bunch of Naruto videos, and whatnot. So if you guys are ever curious about that, or, like he has how strong people are, versus battles, you name it, make sure to check him out. He has some pretty cool stuff, about almost 9,000 subscribers. He's a really cool guy. And he's also knows Six, which if you guys don't know who he is, he's also in this video. Six does a bunch of Naruto content as well. He knows like Seth, Swag, and everything and whatnot. So they're really good guys. They both have really good content. So make sure to check them out. I'll make sure to put both their YouTube accounts in the link in the description down below. This way you guys can check them out. But other than that, that's kind of it. We're going to be getting to the video. We're going to react to it. And basically, could the legendary Sannin beat Itachi? Let's get it.
Awareness are equivocal. One's reality might be another's illusion.
Yo, so the title should be somewhat self-explanatory. In part 1 is shown a world within which ninja are tasked to do missions. The legendary Sannin are adopted as the strongest ninja, who put fear into the hearts of ninja from distant lands. A title way more prestigious than the Jonins, obviously. However, the hype will be short-lived within...
One thing I'm gonna say something right now. Is it me, or does his, mic sound really weird? I swear his mic sounds weird, bro. But we're gonna continue.
Introduction of Itachi Uchiha, who disproved the invincibility of a Sannin by easily beating up Orochimaru. We know Itachi can individually beat them up, that's not really a question. The real question is, can he beat them collectively? Can he beat them together? I think this is quite an interesting question because the Sannin unironically, when working together, yes, get a teamwork buff, so they're stronger when working together. You guys are probably wondering why that's the case, and you're gonna find out very soon, don't worry about that. By the way, some of you guys watch my content but aren't subscribed, so don't forget to subscribe and like the video. I'd also like to welcome back a guest to the channel. You guys know him quite well. Say hi, Six.
Yo, so this matchup is between the strongest version of Jiraiya, Tsunade, and Orochimaru.
See, and then you got Six, and his mic sounds perfect. Hey, Six, my boy, can you send this man a USB mic? Damn. I hope, like my mic, in my opinion, sounds better than Kingbullet. Unless you guys think I'm tripping. But, I know it's a little irrelevant. I'm just saying.
Tomorrow against a healthy Itachi. Let's just say at the beginning of Shippuden, they feel the urge to team up and bring Itachi in, and Itachi is forced to fight them to the death. Could they do it? First we'll go over the Sannin. Can they even beat an unhealthy Itachi, and then a hypothetical one who is healthy? The Sannin get to start at full power, otherwise it'd be kinda unfair. Itachi in character wouldn't give them the chance to transform or use certain jutsu like Sage Mode or 100 healings. Also, we're not going to be using any of the Boruto era Sannin, otherwise the scaling chain can get a little weird. So to get started with the matchup, how strong are the Sannin? The three, Jiraiya, Tsunade, and Orochimaru, are implied equal or at least relative to each other at full power. You gotta remember that they are a team, so if they aren't able to keep up with each other, then they would be able to bring out the best of each other and do team combos. Remember, it supposedly takes a Sannin to take down another Sannin.
So beginning with Tsunade, she was capable of harming base form Jiraiya when he was spying on her. This could be comedic, but Tsunade is also stated to be a match for the other Sannin according to the first fan book written by Kishimoto. Although Tsunade still might be weaker than the other two Sannin when it comes to base, since that feat in that statement could be referring to Prime Tsunade, using her full capabilities of 100 healings, which doesn't happen until Naruto Shippuden when she fights Madara. So Tsunade should be below the level of Kakashi at the beginning of Naruto Shippuden. This is because it's stated that Kakashi is the #1 ninja in all of Konoha, and Tsunade is still considered a ninja during a third data book. It should also be noted that Tsunade hasn't used the 100 healings full power yet, so it's pretty consistent. And this also doesn't mean that Kakashi is stronger than Jiraiya at this time, because the third data book only covers up to volume 43, and at this point Jiraiya is dead, so it makes sense for Kakashi to be the #1 ninja when Jiraiya is gone. It's only when she fights Madara alongside the other Kage Tsunade goes full power and uses the 100 healings to remove her physical restraints. This is a very similar process to the first gate that Lee and Guy used, that removes the brain's physical restraints so the human body goes from using 20% to 100% of his physical power, which is like a 5 times increase in power and speed. It should be noted, just like the first gate, her body begins to deteriorate when using 100% of her power. However, the 100 healings instantly heals all damage caused to herself. So her physical power is obviously way above her normal durability, which doesn't change. Tsunade can summon Katsuyu, who can wrestle with Manda and Gamabunta, at least briefly. Katsuyu's main use comes from her acidic properties and her healing. Tsunade can also use her healing abilities to help her comrades, which might actually come in handy when helping the other Sannin take down Itachi. We know Sakura in the Sakura Hiden novel
gonna be
can use her healing ability.
Stream NCAA March Madness live.
To such a high degree, it actually destroys the cells of her opponents. So yes, technically this healing ability can be used as an offensive weapon. So depending on if you think Tsunade also has this ability too, regardless of how durable or strong Itachi is, he can be harmed by this ability, making it automatically dangerous in this fight.
When talking about Orochimaru's power, in part 1, it is implied Jiraiya and Orochimaru are around each other's level. Since they are stated equal in the first guidebook, we know that Orochimaru, for example, is evenly matched with the third Hokage Hiruzen and is capable of single-handedly destroying an entire country. If anything, he's probably stronger than Hiruzen because apparently he's strong enough to clearly state he's stronger than Hiruzen, as well as Hiruzen being a quote-unquote boring pastime for Orochimaru according to the data books. This is further supported by the idea that Hiruzen finds the resolve to kill Orochimaru in their fight, whereas Orochimaru doesn't really find that same resolve. So in his base form alone, he should be a bit stronger than Hiruzen. He then gets access to Sage Snake when he uses his 8 Serpents Jutsu, his most powerful summoning. This snake is meant to be the strongest Sage Snake beyond even Manda, which is impressive because Manda is stronger than Gamabunta, who you could sort of imply Jiraiya kind of fears. This snake is also stronger than Orochimaru himself, so when it comes to abilities, he's got Manda as a summoning, Manda stated to be stronger than Gamabunta, explaining why Gamabunta and Katsuyu had to team up against him. Orochimaru is also known for his poisons, as well as his semi-immortality, in which he can keep regenerating himself through armies of snakes. Itachi might find it hard to keep him down.
So how strong is Jiraiya? Being Orochimaru's equal should place him comfortably at the level of Hiruzen, and yes, he is stated Orochimaru's equal according to the databook. Especially considering that Jiraiya thinks that he's at the level where he can take down Orochimaru, despite thinking that he killed Hiruzen.
So far, they're doing a pretty good job on elaborating, kind of explaining, with statements, character, data book bios and whatnot. You name it, okay? They're doing a really good kind of explaining them briefly and what they can do. So, great job so far. Can't really complain. I'm not really going to contest really on anything that's so far been stated. Pretty good so far. I'm not really in any disagreement. And now, the only thing that will be interesting, because I believe they already stated this in the beginning of the video, of how they say they're going to have to be at max amount of power in order to fight against Itachi. Which I guess that makes sense, because if they were just all 3 of them in base, and had a fight or whatever, that Itachi would more than likely steamroll or stomp them. But that's a whole other thing. Like, I could talk about how they could utilize their jutsus and whatnot and everything, but at the end of the day, I'm not really going to get into that right now, maybe towards the end of the video. So I do find that interesting how they'll already be maxed out, ready to go to fight him. Because I would agree with the fact that if they're not at max and, like, Jiraiya needs to get to Sage mode, or, whatever, that Itachi's not really going to let them go at full power. And it's in character. Itachi always tries to finish the fight as quick as possible. He's not really known for his stamina and his chakra reserves, healthy or not. So that does make sense. But it's interesting because Orochimaru technically can go at full power whenever he wants. He could turn into that serpent thing basically instantly. And then Tsunade, she can do 100 healings thing right off the bat as well. Jiraiya is the only one that actually needs time in order to summon the toads, and then once they're summoned, he can go into Sage mode. So yeah, for Jiraiya, absolutely. I could see of him not being able to allow him to do it or whatever. But I do feel like if they were all 3 in base, you know what I mean, that Orochimaru and Tsunade could probably be able to, give him time, or at least protect him enough, You know, and especially if Orochimaru starts doing Edo Tensei right off the bat, like, you know, like, come on. But see, I don't even think, now really thinking about it, I like, Tsunade and Jiraiya would have to be contesting against Itachi to allow Orochimaru to even have the time to do Edo Tensei, because when he tried to do Edo Tensei against the third Hokage, he did the first and then the second, and then when he was about to summon the fourth Hokage, Hiruzen immediately reacted with Shuriken and all that and immediately stopped it. And he's like, hell no, I'm not letting you do that. And we know how fast Itachi is. So, you know, Itachi could be able to easily contest Edo Tensei if Orochimaru is doing that ability. But with the aid of Tsunade and Jiraiya, that's a little bit more tricky. And whatnot. So, I don't know. It's interesting. Even if they were to start in base, I feel like they could be able to probably do things. I'm curious to see what they're going to do with the scaling with Itachi, or whether or not he's just drastically way more faster than them and blah, blah, and this and that. Because when we do see Itachi against Kakashi, Asuma, and Kurina and all that, it's clearly showing that this guy's on a whole other level. And mind you, he's even holding back. He's not trying to kill them. He's just kind of putting on a show to make it look like, and it's implied that he's the bad guy, okay? So I am intrigued in what they're going to do with that, but I'm not going to really talk anymore or rant anymore. But all I'm trying to say is if they weren't based, you know, depending on how you're arguing and everything and this and that, like, could they be able to kind of do something for a little bit? Yes. I don't feel like they all immediately have to be at max amount of power in order to, I don't know. That's just me, like, you know, realistically, but whatever.
And obviously at this stage he didn't really know that Orochimaru had lost a lot of power and lost his arm, so he couldn't really weave jutsu. During the second Shinobi War, Jiraiya learned Senjutsu while training at Mount Murabuku. According to the second fanbook, he surpassed the other nations with his Sage Mode that he'd learned. So it makes sense for him to be the strongest person in the world at that time, possibly, with his Sage Mode. Sage Mode is hailed as a superior Sage transformation, superior to the second curse mark. I remember me and Six were talking prior to this. He brought up the idea it might not necessarily be the more powerful form, since all we know about Sage Mode is that it's a more controlled variant of Senjutsu in comparison to the second state of the curse mark, hence its lack of deformation. But if we're being completely fair, Sage Mode is claimed by Shikamaru's father as a form that propels you to another realm of power. This guy's probably the smartest person in the world, at least at the time. When he found out that Naruto had achieved Sage Mode, he thought that nobody in the village would be helpful to him. So Sage Mode, at least narratively at the time, was one of the most powerful, if not the most powerful transformation by law. So if the second state of the curse mark makes you about...
Absolutely, yeah. Sage Mode is no freaking joke. And that was a really good manga panel they pulled up. I even have that as my own. And then they're going to go into the whole statement with how much increases with curse mark.
10 times stronger and gives you about 10 times more chakra than before. I'm pretty sure that Sage Mode should at least give you a similar or relative amp. That'd explain why Orochimaru was still obsessed in finding and giving Mitsuki a perfected Sage Mode. Anyway, with this power, he kept up with suppressed pain. We know he was suppressed since pain is stronger than Sage Mode Naruto, who is stronger than Sage Mode Jiraiya. Meaning pain must have been holding back against his sensei. There could be money reasons for this. He couldn't push himself emotionally to kill his master. Or if you don't think that's the case, it might be the fact that he's fighting in a hidden rain village, so he doesn't want to destroy his own homeland. So he couldn't use a Shinra Tensei or Chibaku Tensei at all, otherwise he would risk destroying the actual village. When it comes to ability...
I wouldn't really say that. He could be able to control it enough to where it wouldn't really do that much harm to the village. So he could still be able to utilize Tendo Pain, but it's just he didn't need to. You know what I mean? And as a matter of fact, if my memory is right, hold up, I think they're capping. I think he did. Did he? I don't know if he used Universal Pull or not. No, he didn't. Yeah, he never used Tendo Pain's powers. No, he didn't. What's it called? But yeah, no, he just didn't have to. Like, it wasn't needed. You know what I mean? So I don't know about all that. Like, yeah, you could definitely say that Pain wasn't going fully all out or bloodthirsted right off the fucking bat. He was clearly, like, kind of toying with his prey, talking his shit, you know, saying why Jiraiya sucks and failed or the ninja world is useless, blah, blah. You know, but other than that, I wouldn't go so far to say that he couldn't be able to use his powers. He could definitely be able to do that. He wouldn't go all out as he did in the Hidden Leaf Village, obviously. But, yeah, you know, I'll say that at the very least.
Jiraiya has a few interesting ones. He's obviously got access to Gamabunta, who's a threat to base Jiraiya himself, and can chop off one of the One-Tail's arms. Jiraiya also has petrification via Senjutsu, which does spread to the rest of your body if you do absorb it. However, I doubt that Itachi will try and absorb Senjutsu, and I don't even think he has chakra absorption abilities anyway, so I don't know how useful that is. Jiraiya's most useful jutsu is probably the one that is granted from Ma and Pa. They're able to emit this audio genjutsu, which is stated to be the strongest audio genjutsu, so Itachi should be wary of that ability for sure.
Together, the Sannin are meant to be stronger than the 5 Kage. This was stated in the second fan book. I've talked about this before in some of my own videos. The second fan book covers up to the 5 Kage summit. So the 5 Kage it should be talking about is the one that's including Danzo, not saying Tsunade herself should be stronger than the Tsunade and the 5 Kage for some reason. Doesn't really make sense. Individually, the Sannin should be stronger than the average Kage, seeing as it's a 3-to-5 ratio and together they're all just stronger than the 5 Kage. However, this is only referring to Jiraiya without his Sage Mode, since Sage Mode Jiraiya transcends the status of a Sannin and becomes a Sage, at least according to himself. So could Itachi contend with the group stronger than the 5 Kage? I think it's probably worth mentioning.
That's interesting that he's saying that, because there's that whole statement that I guess is saying that apparently they're stronger than the 5 Kage that I'm not even aware of myself. But then again, when we actually analyze the legendary Sannin, all three of them fighting against Hanzo, the Salamander user, who was, like the hidden range Kage, he beat all three of them. So to go off his statement saying that they're stronger than all 5 Kages, I don't know about all that. All three of them? Because if Hanzo was able to beat him by himself and he's just one Kage, I feel like that contradicts, if you guys see what I'm saying. So I don't know about all that. And remind you, you're talking about a Hanzo that's going against Jiraiya, Orochimaru, and Tsunade, and meaning that Orochimaru had access to Edo Tensei and everything as well. I don't know if he had access to Sage Mode. I doubt it probably. And I don't know if Tsunade had access to the 100 healings at that point either. I don't know what's it called. But I know damn well Orochimaru could use Edo Tensei. And maybe he couldn't do that either. Who the fuck knows? At the end of the day, they lost to one Kage. So I don't know about all that. That's a little weird. I don't really agree with that statement necessarily. Because at the end of the day, if the right Kage was at full fucking max speed and he was having to fight against Orochimaru Tsunade, and he's just going to be speed blitzing and they're done. So I don't know about all that. That's a little weird.
Mentioning that the Sannin get a teamwork boost as well, without trying to meme. What I mean by this is that when the Sannin work together, they essentially get 3 times as skilled as they are normally, or you could say 3 times more powerful. So this isn't them getting physically stronger. However, them using their abilities in jutsu and coordination to each other could pose a problem for Itachi.
Now we can finally move on to Itachi, yes, the edgelord himself. Now Itachi doesn't really need an introduction, y'all know who he is. He's seemingly stronger than Sannin level, however it might be a little bit convoluted how much stronger he is than that level exactly. Is it enough for him to beat up the Sannin collectively? Well, we do know that he can easily beat down Orochimaru even a few years ago, when Itachi was just in his early teens, simply by glancing at him and cutting his arm off, meaning he is physically stronger than him, and he didn't even have his Mangekyo Sharingan active. If he had had it active, he would have been drastically stronger. Orochimaru always wanted Itachi's body as a vessel. As weird as it sounds, it's true. He believed if he had Itachi's body in the fight against Hiruzen, then he would have easily won according to the anime. Anyway, Itachi would go on to rematch Orochimaru. This time Orochimaru would use his 8 Serpents Jutsu, but would still get one shot and folded by a blind, fatigued, almost dead Itachi, which is kind of embarrassing, but that's just how much stronger Itachi is than Sannin level. So ultimately, this moves us on to who wins a fight. Now, if Itachi faces a Sannin, then he most likely kills him as fast as possible, since he knows that his stamina isn't his forte, and that a few uses of his Mangekyo Sharingan would put him out of commission. The reason he's stronger than him is because when he's ill, he's still stronger than Heavy Sasuke, who he was suppressed to, and you gotta remember this Heavy Sasuke was superior to Mangekyo Sharingan Sasuke, according to Jugo. This same Mangekyo Sharingan Sasuke is in the same league as Sage Mode Naruto, if not stronger than him, honestly, since Naruto thinks that he's stronger. This same Sasuke is also capable of fighting Killer Bee. Of course, he's getting destroyed by Killer Bee at first, but as he gets stronger and adapts to the Mangekyo Sharingan, he's able to keep up with him. He's even capable of cutting his tentacles, setting him on fire, and gives Killer Bee the hardest challenge he's ever faced. All I'm trying to say is Itachi's stronger than Mangekyo Sharingan Sasuke, which does make sense. I think he even admits so in a Jin Raiden novel, which is set around the time he unlocks the Mangekyo Sharingan. And this Mangekyo Sharingan Sasuke is at least relative to Sage Mode Naruto, who's stronger than Sage Mode Jiraiya. As stated several times, the whole narrative is Naruto needs to surpass his master in order to beat Pain, which he himself couldn't. So Itachi, even ill, since that is a Itachi Sasuke remembers fighting, is stronger than Jiraiya in his Sage Mode.
Realistically, I see Itachi going for Orochimaru first, since it's pretty clear that he doesn't like him, like, at all. After that, the teamwork amp doesn't really apply as much anymore because one of them is dead. It's not like they get physically stronger and faster together anyways, just more skilled. At worst, Itachi just seals the 8 serpents Orochimaru up again with the Tosca blade, so he doesn't have to deal with his regeneration or poison. Tsunade's durability doesn't scale to her AP whenever she's on 100 healings because she can constantly heal herself even if she happens to break bones in that form. Imagine she's taking damage from herself and Itachi is also dishing out damage to her, so Itachi kills her with a headshot using a ranged attack, let's be honest. She should be the easiest one to take out. Jiraiya and Tsunade wouldn't really do much if Itachi is cased up in the Susanoo, considering they are mainly close quarters fighters, meaning none of the trio can effectively deliver the hacks like poison or cellular destruction. Ma and Pa's audio genjutsu could potentially work since it's the strongest genjutsu at the time of the 3rd data book, which is kinda weird, but even granting that, we know later on Kabuto's Senjutsu enhanced genjutsu, which could be stronger, trapped Itachi, but he breaks out of it with the help of Sasuke. Ma and Pa's genjutsu could trap Itachi if he's alone, but according to them it takes a while for it to function and get the chakra built up for it. So because Itachi is set on finishing the fight quickly, which he would have his mediocre stamina, he'd beat the Sannin and their summonings before it could take function. In the Akatsuki Hiden novels, he puts hundreds of bees under Tsukiyomi, so it might be possible for Itachi to put all of his opponents in this fight under a genjutsu and be straight up faster than them all, let alone using his ocular abilities like Izanami or Izanagi. So round 1 goes to Itachi pretty handedly, who seems to be a level above the Sannin entirely, and he doesn't.
So that's interesting. So overall, from what basically, it's a lot of points, a shit ton of fucking points. I'm not going to go over every single one by one, but to just keep it very simple of my response on that is absolutely. So the problem with Itachi is obviously he doesn't have a shit ton of stamina and chakra, but what's really interesting about him is how powerful he is. Like, his scaling is just on a whole other level, and he's so powerful to the point where he's clearly way above Sannin level. That's clearly shown in the show. He's ridiculous with genjutsu. His Susanoo basically grants him invincibility, along with his fucking Totsuka blade and his invincible shield. The shield's consisted of all 5 chakra natures and reflects anything back, and the sword can one-shot anything it touches. Okay, and overall he's just a beast. And at the end of the day, easily Itachi, if he's able to put because I didn't even know that he was able to put thousands of fucking bees in a genjutsu. That's just insane. Or Tsukiyomi, actually. Like, that is ridiculous, okay? But the fact that he's able to do that, if he could do 1,000 fucking bees in Tsukiyomi, why wouldn't he not be able to do it to them, you know? And then not only that, what's it called? You could even argue he could be able to put him in basic genjutsu. You know what I mean? He was able to do it to Naruto just by pointing his finger. And the moment any of them are even in the genjutsu, yeah, they can be able to get released. But do you think that Itachi's going to let them release their teammate from a genjutsu? Hell no. One prime example as well is Obito, when he had like the yellow mask. He put fucking a 3-man squad, Itachi's 3-man squad in a genjutsu. It was Itachi, the genjutsu specialist, and the other girl and their leader. Put all of them in a fucking genjutsu, along with all the Anbu Black Ops and Kakashi in a genjutsu. He placed every single ninja all in genjutsu all at once. And the genjutsu specialist was able to break out of it. Itachi was able to snap out of it, okay? But everyone else is still in genjutsu. And, Obito kills basically his friend, Itachi's friend. So he gets slaughtered. And then he's about to kill... basically, he was walking up on Itachi and shit's about to go down. You could argue maybe he's going to kill Itachi. Who knows? Whatever. But then eventually Kakashi snaps out of the genjutsu, snaps everyone out, and they're about to come. And when Obito realized Kakashi's presence, then he disappears. Okay? And that's just Obito. Itachi could easily be able to replicate the same feat. Okay? Genjutsu's no fucking joke. Okay? And if they get put in genjutsu, that's a W. Especially if it's Tsukiyomi. That's like fourth dimensional fucking Genjutsu to the point where things are happening in less than a picosecond in the real world, while in the Tsukiyomi world, you could be in there for eons, okay? So that's, ridiculous. If they were to do any summonings, Amaterasu takes care of the summonings. That's a easy GG. Or Tachi could go into Susanoo and Tosuke Blade Orochimaru's transformation if he does do that. So that he would be taken care of by that. And that's basically it. And then overall, with Tsunade, she's not known for speed. She's just known for her power. Okay. So you have that to be able to put into consideration. So she'd be taken care of. And then Jiraiya, same thing with him. Like, even if he was in Sage Mode, you got to remember, you're talking about a guy that was fighting against CM2 Sasuke, okay, while he's on his deathbed and fucking blind. You know what I mean? And sick, So, like, freaking he's able to contest against Sage Mode users, fight against Kabuto while having to hold back, who's also a really powerful Sage Mode user, okay? Like, Itachi is no fucking joke, So, overall, he is more than capable to not only finish in a quick succession, but be able to deal with them all at once, okay? And either way, I don't see the legendary Sannin be able to come on top. The only way you could really argue for the legendary Sannin to really be able to beat him is if Orochimaru is able to be fast enough to utilize Edo Tensei. If Orochimaru is able to get Edo Tensei, you know what I mean, and summon the first Hokage, the second Hokage, or even the fourth Hokage, whatever, people like that on that level, that's going to be very, very fucking a big problem for Itachi, okay? Because now he's going to have to deal with Hokage level threats, you know what I mean, along with fighting Orochimaru and you name it. So that's a whole other thing. But I don't even think it would even get to that point because Itachi didn't even let him do that when they did actually fight. It was immediately a GG, like instantaneously, So, like, unless it's like a rematch and Orochimaru already has done Edo Tensei, like he has it ready to go, and he's about to fight along with the Hokage at his side, and then, that's a whole other thing, which I don't know if they're really going to get into that and talk about that, then that's a whole different scenario. But if it's just the three legendary Sannin, even at max power, or especially if they're at base, they're just not going to be able to do it. He's on a whole other level.
Doesn't really have to use things like Amaterasu or Tsukiyomi, which he probably could a few times. Around the time he fought Sasuke, he'd use Tsukiyomi once when fighting Kasame according to Naruto Revolutions, which is canon to the anime, and again versus Sasuke. After that, he managed to use the Amaterasu several times as well as his Susanoo, so his stamina isn't even all that bad, if we're being honest.
True.
Now, some people might try and bring up that really cringe feat where Itachi runs away from Jiraiya in part 1 of Naruto. But to be honest, he didn't necessarily run away because he was scared. He probably ran away because, he was a double agent. He wasn't unnecessarily going to kill one of the Leaf's most respected and powerful ninja just to flex in front of Kisame. According to Kisame, they ran away because Jiraiya was one of the legendary Sannin. Just for reference, Itachi's already beaten one of the legendary Sannin, Orochimaru, easily. So clearly being a Sannin isn't as threatening to Itachi as it is Kisame maybe. Remember, this was part 1, so Kisame may have got stronger himself in Shippuden. Kisame doesn't really know how strong Sannin are either. He just heard they're very powerful. The legendary Sannin status is definitely higher than the legendary Swordsman of the Mist, so Itachi should win round 1 quite easily. As for round 2, Itachi is healthy, so there's no way the Sannin can beat this version of Itachi, because blatantly he scales higher than them and has higher stamina as well. Just for reference, Itachi with his normal Sharingan is KCM Naruto level. KCM Naruto states that he's way stronger than when he fought Pain. So KCM Naruto is way stronger than Sage Mode Naruto, who's already way beyond Sage Mode Jiraiya according to several sources, as I stated before. Itachi then gets even stronger when he uses his Mangekyo Sharingan. We know he's capable of fighting ninja like Sage Mode Kabuto, who claims to have been the strongest and closest thing to the Sage's six paths, at least at the time, despite of him knowing of Edo Madara and Edo Hashirama. Whether you believe that or not, it's still probably quite impressive fighting somebody of that caliber. We know that Mangekyo Sharingan increases your chakra by several times, and you can also do larger scale attacks with this chakra. We know normal Sharingan Sasuke went from hardly being capable of harming Killer Bee and fighting him, to then fighting a fully transformed Eight Tails when activating his Mangekyo Sharingan and getting used to using it. So I think logically we can assume that Itachi gets drastically stronger from using something like the Mangekyo Sharingan, not just chakra wise, power wise, speed wise. So I just can't see the Sannin winning or contending with him when he's just way stronger and faster than them. I guess Jiraiya could try to use Dark Swamp to sink Itachi's Susanoo maybe, but Itachi can still walk on water, so there's not much that can be done. So in conclusion, just to wrap it up, Itachi's just too strong and too powerful for somebody like them. Their teamwork amp shouldn't be much of a deal either when one of them's already down. Anyway, if you liked the video, subscribe, press the like button, check out my other videos, and oh yeah, don't forget to sub to 6. He makes Naruto content that you guys would definitely enjoy if you...
Okay, so overall, it's a pretty good video. Give it a like. That's pretty good. And, you know, like I said, there's not really things I could really contest on that. Overall, I was practically mainly in agreement throughout the entire time. The only thing I can say, you know, at the end of the day is as simple as if Itachi is having to fight all three of them, okay, you know what I mean? Like, could this Sannin maybe pull a W? Sure. It's going to be with high difficulty, and, you know, that would more likely be the least case scenario. I'm not going to be completely in denial that it can't possibly happen. But when you really analyze Itachi as a character, like from start all the way to even the point where he's sick, he's just drastically scaling-wise on a whole other level. You know what I mean? Intelligence, speed, hacks abilities, analyzing, being able to deduce, you name it, like, he's a whole other fucking level, bro. And the question is, like, you're talking about a character that's scaling way over them, or better yet, pulling insane level of feats while he's sick against, you know, Sasuke and whatnot. Because Sasuke wasn't even able to steamroll him or doing it really anything, and he had to run for his money. You know, like, you really think they're really going to have the higher possibility of being able to beat him? I just don't see it possible. You know, with Itachi's shuriken accuracy, his speed and everything, jutsus, his genjutsu and all that, his Susanoo, like, it's just, I just don't see it happening. I really don't. So, overall, you know, I love the Sannin, don't get me wrong, they're really powerful and everything, but I just don't see it happening. It's just that fucking simple. So, Obito, Tachi, and especially Nagato, they're just built different. You know, like, they're just a whole other caliber. So it's really interesting when you you know, have these type of discussions and conversations. You know, like I said, I have nothing against the legendary Sannin and everything, and they are really powerful on their own right and whatnot, but it's just very hard to believe that could be possible. You know, like I said, the only way remotely of it even being possible, in my opinion, is if Orochimaru is able to summon the Hokages to aid them in their battle. Like, if he has that, like, ready to go, you know what I mean, then that's a whole other thing. You know what I mean? Like, against Itachi and now you have Edo summonings fighting against Itachi along with the legendary Sannin. That's a whole other ballgame, okay? Now, the funny thing is, though, in my opinion, see, this is the fucked up part, though. Orochimaru would have to basically summon them at the level that he did against Hiruzen, because if he was to summon Hashirama and Tobirama, you know what I mean, at, like, close to the max amount of power as he did in the War Arc, and he would be like, Hashirama, kill this Uchiha, he's a bad guy, blah, blah, whatever, this and that. Itachi would be like, yo, like, no, like, don't do that. I'm not the bad guy here, blah, blah, whatever. You know what I mean? And it'd just be really weird. And at the end of the day, I don't feel like Hashirama would really engage in a battle if it's not absolutely necessary. You know what I mean? Like, it's just stupid. He always avoids violence at any cost. You know, and he only goes down that route if it's absolutely necessary. So he more than likely probably wouldn't even participate and would literally look at Orochimaru and be like, hey, like, stop your shit, you know, in character at least. You know, and then that would be it. And he would try to de-escalate, if anything. But let's say we're just saying, like, nah, like, Hashirama was forced to fight at max amount of, you know, close to his max amount of power. That's a whole other thing. And at that point, you know, fucking whatever, you know. But either way, that's a good video. I really enjoyed it. If you guys enjoyed it, great. If not, apologize. But make sure to leave a like, comment your thoughts down below. Subscribe for more content. Subscribe if you guys love the channel. And let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know if you guys had any problems with their video, anything problems with what I said, or if you're more in agreement, this and that, or what's your take on, you know, how you think it would go, etc. I'm always interested. Like I said, Naruto's a very interesting topic in my opinion, and it's just always great to talk about. So just let me know, and then that's it, guys. See you in the next video. Peace.